September 27, 1942. Stalingrad, Soviet Union. Central District, Penza Street. The morning air over Stalingrad was thick with dust and smoke. The city had already been burning for weeks, but by late September, the fighting had reached a new level of brutality. The German Sixth Army stood less than a kilometer from the Volga River. For Adolf Hitler, Stalingrad had become more than a city. It was a symbol, a name that could not be abandoned. For the Soviet defenders, it was the last line. On Penza Street stood a four-story apartment building built of reinforced brick. Before the war, it had housed factory workers and their families. Now its windows were shattered, its walls blackened by fire, and its stairwells choked with rubble. What made the building dangerous was not its size, but its position. From its upper floors, a soldier could see clear across a wide open square toward the Volga. Any German unit trying to advance in this sector would have to cross open ground under direct fire. By late September, the German Sixth Army had pushed deep into the city. Street by street, building by building, the fighting turned Stalingrad into a battlefield without a rear. There were no safe zones. Every ruined structure could hide an enemy. The Volga River lay just beyond the smoke. If the Germans reached it, the city would be split in two. On the morning of September 27, a small Soviet assault group moved toward the building. They belonged to the 13th Guards Rifle Division, a unit that had already suffered catastrophic losses defending the city. The Germans had taken the building earlier. The order was simple and absolute: retake it and hold it. The Soviet soldiers crossed the square at a run, bullets striking the ground around them. They entered through shattered doorways and began clearing the structure room by room. Within an hour, the building was back in Soviet hands. Leading the assault was Sergeant Yakov Fedotovich Pavlov. He was 24 years old. He was not an officer. He was not famous. He was an infantry sergeant following orders. At first, Pavlov had only 3 men with him. Over the next several days, reinforcements arrived in small numbers: machine gunners, riflemen, and anti-tank crews. At its strongest, the garrison numbered around 24 soldiers, but at many points during the siege, fewer than 12 men were able to fight. They came from different parts of the Soviet Union. Most had never met before Stalingrad. All of them understood that retreat was not an option. They immediately began turning the apartment block into a fortress. Windows were bricked up, leaving narrow firing slits. Rubble was piled against interior walls to absorb shell blasts. Machine guns were positioned to cover every approach. Anti-tank rifles were placed on the upper floors, aimed directly at the open square below. A narrow communication trench was dug under fire, connecting the house to Soviet positions closer to the Volga, about 70 meters away. Supplies could only be moved at night. During the day, any movement outside meant death. The Germans attacked quickly. Infantry assaults came first. Probing attacks, followed by larger formations. German soldiers advanced using shell holes and debris for cover, but once they reached the open square, they were fully exposed. Soviet machine guns waited until the enemy was close enough. Then the fire began. Bodies piled up in the square. German artillery followed. Heavy shells struck the building day and night. Walls collapsed. Fires broke out. The defenders shifted positions constantly to survive. Then came the tanks. Panzer III tanks advanced with infantry support. Anti-tank rifles fired from the upper floors at close range. One tank halted, smoke pouring from its engine. Another reversed, blocking the others. The attack failed. Flamethrowers followed. Fire swept the lower floors. The defenders retreated upward, sealing stairwells, firing down until the attackers withdrew. Days turned into weeks. October brought freezing nights. Frost formed inside the building. Food was rationed. Water was scarce. Wounded men refused evacuation because replacements might not arrive. Snipers hunted constantly. German soldiers learned to fear the building. Captured maps later showed the structure clearly marked. German units believed it was defended by an entire battalion. In reality, fewer than 24 exhausted men held it. From this one house, German movement across a wide sector of the city was disrupted. Supply routes were cut. Assaults were delayed. The defense continued for nearly 60 days. On November 19, 1942, far beyond the ruins of Stalingrad, the Red Army launched Operation Uranus. Soviet forces smashed through weaker Axis flanks north and south of the city. The German Sixth Army was encircled. Inside Stalingrad, the fighting continued, but its outcome was sealed. In late November, Soviet forces finally relieved the defenders of the house. Pavlov and the surviving soldiers were withdrawn. Some were sent to hospitals. Others returned to combat. Yakov Pavlov survived the war. He was later awarded the title Hero of the Soviet Union. After the war, he returned to civilian life. The building survived as well. After the war, it was rebuilt. A memorial was placed on its wall. It became known forever as Pavlov's house. The Battle of Stalingrad ended in February 1943 with the destruction of the German Sixth Army. It marked a turning point on the Eastern Front. A small group of infantrymen, cut off and outgunned, held a key position against one of the most powerful armies in the world. Not for hours, not for days, for nearly 60 days. If you found this story meaningful, please like the video, subscribe to the channel, and share it so these real stories of sacrifice are never forgotten.